Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are here for the 8th round in the Dive Bomb Arc Formula 1 Championship. That's a great start to the stream, folks. Who else is on a lap? Try that again. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, we're here for the 8th round of the Arc Formula 1 Championship. It is the Spanish Grand Prix. And, come on, guys. It's the Spanish Grand Prix, clearly struggling for grip out there. The track's not rubbered in yet as we've just begun the qualifying session. No laps have been posted so far. I think... well, no, this isn't a... well, this was a lap. Now it isn't. Get this camera out of here, this doesn't help me any. As I get this awkward start out of the way. Oh, there's a lap. Yeah, that's not representative, I can wholeheartedly assure you. A 37.6 is... There's a lap. There's an 18.8 from Luke Allen in the Alpine. His teammate's about to come across the line and probably one-up that by at least a tiny margin. 18.38 for his teammate AJ Knickel. Liam Carrig ran 21.9, basically 22, because he nearly lost control through 3. Matthew Stotts is on the lap as he's making his way through the slightly reworked turn 10 through the final chicane. Last turn, Matthew Stotts, his first lap of the session is going to be an 18 flat. That goes to the top of the charts. Looks like Jackson Altman is trying again. Eyes itch. Not great. Next time I see somebody about to start a lap will probably be the obligatory one-lap track guide here at the Barcelona-Catalonia circuit. Liam Angelo Carre goes to an 18.000. That is oddly satisfying to see. 18, exactly a minute 18. Jackson Altman is not running another lap, so we'll just switch to somebody who's on an out lap. Now you're nowhere near starting this lap. Abdurrahman Al-Hazmi ups the ante with a 17.65. I think I'm going to wait for Ethan Fonseca to start his flying lap, and we will have the track tour on board his Ferrari. If I can stop scratching my eyes long enough to commentate it, that is. Out of the last turn and on to the back straightaway. The most daring individuals will be running low enough wings to hit 200 here, but not even Fonseca's doing that. As Tyler Crabtree barely goes above Al-Hazmi with a 17.63. Turns 1 and 2 are just a high-speed chicane, more or less. Turn 3 is usually flat. If your car is set up well, you can take that flat. Turn 4, take a wide exit, set up for turn 5. Abuse the curves through those two corners, as usually they seem pretty nice. Turn 7, do not hit these curves, or they will abuse you. Then we have the terrifying right-hander of turn 9, which seems to only get easier with as time goes on. Sexual is out of the session. The new turn 10, which is sort of some sort of weird hairpin sweeper hybrid into basically what's basically turn 11 version 2. or turn 10 version 2. Don't hit that curb, and then the chicane, don't hit either of those curbs, and then it's just the last turn. Can catch people off guard if they're running loose setups, but Fonseca isn't. He runs a 17-1. No, Fidel, that's not the racetrack. Francis Ferran's making his way around. This is an in-lap, or something. Because he is very clearly not going full speed. That's an out-lap. That's an in-lap. I think Jackson Altman is about to set up for his next attempt. Basically his first real attempt, because I don't think a 39.8 is much of a lap here. And screeching down towards T1. He's running even lower, he's running even more downforce, I should say, than Fonseca was. Entered through 1 and 2. Turn 2's inside curve got a lot less feisty between 21 and 22. Turn 4 a bit aggressive on the entry, but that's just the luxury you're afforded when it comes to turn 4 here. Up to turn 7, turn 8. The corner that seems to get easier every year as the cars get more and more grippy. Seriously. The reworked turn 10. Meanwhile, Nicolas Pouchet runs a 16.5. I wasn't even where he was running a lap, or I would have probably been watching him. Into the final sector. 3 consecutive slow corners with curbs that will send you backwards if you touch them. Final turn, Jackson Altman will produce a 17.6 second row, just ahead of Crabtree, but far removed from the Ferraris. Kyler Boggs on his way around. His battery's not all that high. I don't think he'll run out though, because he isn't going to be using a whole lot from here to the checkered finish line. Methodical on the throttle through the long sweepers. Using a heck of a lot more curb than I'd be daring to use. Out of the last turn, it's not amazing at 18.3. Oh, that's why you don't hit those curves at turn 8. Francis almost just learned the hard way. With some impressive reaction time to keep that thing off of an Armco barrier. I believe both Ferraris are boxing here, yes. I think Fonseca will actually have to wait for his teammate to get all the way in the box, by the looks of things. Now, Hausme is on a lap worth watching, so let's ride aboard the Williams car. He's minutely positive in the first sector. By positive, I mean he's better. I don't know why, like, positive, like, oh, good, not positive, like, actually plus on the time. Terminology is weird. An awkward exit out of turn 9, at least that's what it looked like, but it didn't seem too slow. At least a tenth up on his own time, but he, meets the wrath of the untrack-worn turn 10. And then finds the curb in 11, and that lap has been, well, rendered irrelevant. Ethan Fonseca didn't box behind his teammate. He instead went for another outlap. His battery's fully charged, but wait, what? Did I miss something? Am I a fool? Did he really just come out of the pits that fast? Regardless, it seems as though, whatever happened, he is about to begin a lap. On his way down the front straightaway. Spectating what could be, with any luck, provisional pole at the moment. At least until his teammate enters the circuit, which he's about to do. Super aggressive on the turn-in, but too aggressive on the exit. Well, that's not going to be provisional pole. Not like that. Crabtree needs directions. Matthew Stoth is about to be on his way around in a moment. We will place the camera on him while I attempt to understand what my tablet is doing. And he goes, he floors it across the line to begin his timed lap. Also keeping an eye on, yeah, Pichet is also on a lap. Or he's about to be, at least. I think I put the camera on Pichet because, well, he's the current pole sitter. So it would be kind of foolish not to expect him to up the ante. Or at least try. That was confusing to hear. Attacking at every inch of the circuit. A yardstick about the only measure between himself and an invalid lap, but he snaps a bit through 4, excuse me, and he's going to abandon the attempt. I guess I should have kept the camera on the Aston Martin driver. That's what I get. And we'll notice a lot of drivers are a little paranoid when it comes to putting down the power out of 10. Although I don't think this is actually a lap, so that's also part of it. Now he's gonna accelerate. This track can be a bit of a stickler for track limits, as, well, less so on exit, more so honestly on entry. It's easy to turn in a bit earlier, a bit late, and find yourself outside of the boundaries. Slight burps of the throttle. Up to 4. The grass will sneak up on you. We've already seen it once or twice in this session. Relatively neat and tidy through the first part of Sector 2. Up to 9. Cannot quite take it flat, and he's gonna find some gravel. And I think with the amount of time left on this session, that is more or less his session at an end. I can't tell if this is a lap for Pichet or not. I don't think it is. No, it can't be. Definitely isn't now, he's on the brakes. Somewhere along the way, the Williams driver of Al-Hazmi set a 17.3 to get at least a little closer to our great Scarlet Red overlords at the top of the grid, but he still's not able to dethrone any of them. Allen out of the session, and Fonseca might be joining him. No terminal damage, but that's the end of the session for Fonseca. He's not going to get enough time to go back around. Liam Craig jumps with a 17.41 onto the second row over the McLaren of Altman. But unless we have some surprise appearances, I think we might have our pole time from the very first lap that Nicolas Pichet completed, the 16:56. Altman, Crabtree, and AJ will be the ones attempting to steal that away. Cameron Tate joins at literally the last second. Who began their laps first? Crabtree by a little bit over the McLaren. They're all in the same sector. They're all in the second sector right now. They're just kind of in a line. You can see them on the map down there. Crabtree, then Altman, and then Knickel. So these would be the last three spanners in the works for our grid order in this qualifying session. At least, well, last potential spanners in the works. They're not quite in the works yet. They're just working on it. I'll see myself out. Through the last turn, what'll Crabtree make? It is going to be a 17.5, puts him on the second row. How about Jackson Altman? A 17.1, gets ahead of the Williams driver, but still cannot overcome the Ferraris, and AJ will join him on the second row with a 17.34. So, if you ignore the fact that Nicolas Pichet exists, we have a very close qualifying session on our hands. Down from 2nd to 10th is less than a second apart. And then we just have this guy over here who's apparently injected a little bit of Michael Schumacher into him before this Grand Prix, running over a half a second faster than anybody else. How is this allowed? Am I desynced or... These are confusing times. Why are you here? How are you here? That's a better question. You're paying for those. Okay, seriously. Tate, we don't have all night. Get your car off the racetrack. Stop wasting our time. We have a Grand Prix to race. Somehow I don't think I'm synced properly. No, I'm not. I'm like just too confused to even attempt to take you through a grid order right now. My brain is not working. Apparently what we just saw is normal if nobody's on a time lap. Could have me fooled. Codemasters, I swear. If you're suddenly hearing disembodied voices in the background of my mic, forgive me, even though my window is closed, it doesn't stop all of our noisy neighbors from coming through the soundproof walls. And by soundproof, I mean they break apart like the braking boards. If they were hit by a Formula 1 car at 100-something miles an hour. Or in other words, they're not very sturdy, they're not very thick either, so sound easily passes through them. I wouldn't be surprised if said neighbors are also hearing me broadcast this race right now. Hopefully when we get into the Grand Prix, the noise of the vehicles will drown them out.
Formation lap gets underway and every driver will be looking to settle in for the race ahead, making sure that their car is ready for the battle once the lights go out.
So there's a few deviations of the basic strategy here. Piche starting on hards, as is Jackson Altman and the two Mercedes cars. I believe it was Setchel and Gabe Cazola who were on soft tires. The rest of the grid that I didn't just name. Crofty, please. It's my job. I believe everybody else that I didn't just name is starting on the medium compound. Oh wait, that's not neighbors. I still have my tablet on, so you're probably hearing the stream twice, so that picked up just now. My tablet has this stream running and I forgot to mute the volume. Oops. And 5 red lights. No more red lights. We are green from Barcelona. The two Ferraris are at equal footing as we head towards turn 1. People changing lanes back there. They're 3 abreast in the middle of the pack. The two Mercs versus an Aston Martin. And there's chaos. Jackson Altman is turned right at the apex of 1. Demotes both McLarens into obscurity as we head towards turn 4. Fog's on the inside of Luke Allen. My telemetry is off screen, but that'll have to wait until lap 2 to fix. Setchel puts himself ahead of Cazola, looks for bonus points on Francis Ferrand, who clearly lacking off the start, but too wide into turn 9. Setchel able to pull that off, courtesy of soft tires. As I think Luke Allen just missed turn 10 by a little bit, allowing Cameron Tate to further go up the grid. He's already up to 7th from starting in dead last, and Matthew Stott's already living up to his username, at least the first half. I'll bring the other data back on my screen. Remember talking with AJ and Crabtree before the race, and they said they wanted to have a battle. Looks like they might just get it here as they head towards turn 1, 2, and 3. Obviously they're not alone here, but they're both a little ways clear of the Williams driver behind. Said Williams under pressure. It's very close quarters at the moment as Setchel gets ahead of the AlphaTauri as Gabe Cazola is out of control. Even though he's ghosted, I still slightly jumped when I saw that McLaren driving straight in him. Went too far. We understand the strategy. Gabe Cazola has just manually retired the car in the middle of turn 4, 5. The game seems like it's actually going to hold off on the safety cars. Crabtree wanted to sneak in the inside of AJ, but this is just not the section for that. Setchel loops it as well out of turn 11. Free positions for those trying to sneak their way into points. Oh, Cameron Tate has been a victim of the dirty air. It may be easier to follow in these new cars. That doesn't mean it's easy. So he will be demoted down outside of the points. Only clear still of Stotts and Setchel. I suppose also it's no surprise that Fonseca was able to make quick work of his teammate off the start. He's on the softer compound. But that'll, of course, come back to haunt him later in the race when Piquet will be on the faster tires. Come the very end of the GP, but that's gonna have to sit in the pressure cooker for about half an hour before that really produces anything. And around goes Luke Allen. You have more spins. And I think I just saw that interval change dramatically. Crabtree is still right there on the back of the Alpine of Knickel, but he can't find a way around. Such is just the nature of Catalonia. Catching here is easy, passing here is almost impossible at the best of times. And that's just making this train of cars behind Knickel ever bigger the longer that this continues. Something will have to give eventually. Somebody is going to get passed or crashed. Crabtree dummies ascend. It forces AJ to give space, and he will sneak his way through almost big contact between the two cars. Al-Hazmi is either in the best seat in the house or the worst seat. It depends on who you ask. He's in the best spot to take both places, but he's in the worst spot if they spin out in front of him. So if anything, maybe Liam Angelo is the one in the catbird seat because he's safe distance away. AJ Knickel will use DRS. He's almost clear, but not quite, but he's able to make himself clear by the apex of 2. And Crabtree will return back to the status quo of stuck staring at that Alpine logo on the rear wing. And Fidel Fabian is around in 3. Clearly a bit of a miss on the setup for the McLaren driver. And for a couple of other drivers too while we're counting. And clearly this has definitely been Spain without the A up to this point. The memes are self-fulfilling prophecy. As Al-Hazmi is going to take a peek at the Aston Martin. Yeah, the Maston Art. What? Oh my word, me. Oh, that's very close. The smallest of nudges, but ultimately they get away with it. If Fidel's been disqualified for trying not to get in somebody's way, that is a certified Codemasters moment. You saw that on the track map. He was just parked off to the side, making sure he didn't block Cameron Tate. And for that, he has been punished. How dare you not impede other people? Altman outdrags Kyler Boggs. No resistance, or at least not enough, from the Merc. Piquet is not far from his teammate. I can't imagine those mediums are worn already, so there must be something else going wrong for the lead Ferrari. Crabtree with the massive run through 8, but there's nowhere to take it yet. An okay run through 9. Does he send it? No, he does not. Maybe if this were still a hairpin. Oh, he's gonna still sneak a wing in there anyway, just to the nature of turn 10 now. Still achieves nothing, as of yet. But we still got 27 more laps of DRS zones to maybe try and jar something loose. But with the corner exit like that, he's not going to jar much of anything. Nobody's even using battery. Everyone's just complacent to sit here and wait a little bit longer. As the distance from third place to the lead Ferraris gets ever bigger, it is now a 9-second advantage to the two teammates. Honestly, at this point, I may as well just consider them in a Grand Prix of their own. We're running a Spanish Grand Prix today, and while most of us are showing up to Catalonia, I think those two went to Jerez. We're all under a blanket, but nothing is happening. Welcome to the Spanish GP. Now, AJ has missed turn 11. Crabtree smells blood in the water against the Alpine driver. But I wouldn't be focused on trying to pass him through here. I'd just be focused on getting an exit into the last turn. Which AJ gets a little bobble there that might actually give Crabtree a shot, but he's not deploying the ERS. Well, now he doesn't have a choice. Alhazmi is on his outside. Oh, there's been no space remaining. And Crabtree has eliminated the Williams driver from the train. With one tight apex. I don't think he's gonna like that, and I don't think the stewards will like that either. That's also slightly put Liam Angelo Carrig in a bit of limbo, as he's now having to try and play a small amount of catch-up to stay with them. Something that it doesn't exactly look like he's failing at the moment, though. Crabtree is absolutely there now, to the inside of the Alpine. More squeezing. Knickel's just going to concede and prepare for war down the front straightaway as the battle continues onwards. DRS battery activated. AJ will take that back, and he will take it now. And this conflict has allowed more drivers to enter the train in the form of Francis Ferrand and Jackson Altman. Setchel is pitting. He did sort on those softs, and well, now those softs are gone. They are still battling for this podium spot. I wasn't expecting a pass attempt here. And it still fails. Crabtree will concede. And suddenly Liam finds himself right in the hornet's nest between these two. A good exit from 9. AJ just kind of places his car in the middle. Crabtree just does nothing about that and will wait. Liam continues to just kind of sit here. But now he's got more company as Francis and Jackson Altman have arrived. So now we have a 5-car train all trying to sneak away with the podium spot. I think this train will only subside once the medium tire runners in it have pitted. Those being AJ and Tyler. One press of the triangle button, Tyler Crabtree is right back to the bumper. The non-existent bumper, apparently. Of Knickel. I feel like I'm just in like a never-ending time loop or something. It's just the same events repeating themselves over and over again. Crabtree with another almighty run through 4. Just is not able to complete anything. Huge go at turn 7. And here's the important corner. Turn 9, a little unsteady, but he is very close to the Alpine driver. Does he go for... No, he doesn't. And his lack of going for it has caught Liam Angelo off guard, allowing Francis to try and seize the opportunity. But he's stuck on the outside of a long corner, and so he will seize nothing. There's been a change of the lead up ahead, but that basically seems coordinated, like, yeah, you go ahead, you lead for a while, I need to save stuff. Francis Ferrand is going to be the next car to make any overtaking maneuvers, and that seemed relatively easy. This will not be easy, though, between Crabtree and Knickel. Both forcing each other onto the opposite curbs, but Crabtree finally manages to brute force his way into third place. Following, well, it was maybe an 8 or 9 lap battle, but it felt like they had been fighting for that spot for about 7 years. I thought Mick was going to have his own child before we had a deciding factor on who took third there. Looks like Al-Hazmi has a shot at Kyler Boggs here. He keeps his Merc on the inside, forcing the Williams out wide. But a smooth crossover, which I think is just going to ultimately get him nowhere. He's still there. He's managing to exist on the outside. Now he's still the outside, and he's just going to have to accept that it's the wrong place at the wrong time. Or, it's the right place at the wrong time, I should say. And we have a caution. Matthew Stott spins again. I'm going to look back up the field. This AJ gets nothing. And now Hazmi takes 8th away with finality over the Mercedes of Kyler Boggs. No, it just Stott's in the pit lane. I would say don't give it too long. Those medium tires are going to start burning out. And we'll be seeing the likes of Knickel, Crabtree, and Liam in the pits pretty soon. Matthew Stott's misery continues to pile upon himself as he spins again in 2. Jackson Altman is just all over Liam Angelo, who just backs out and lets this go. Tyler Crabtree makes the last second turn into the pit lane, and that's suddenly left AJ actually with DRS. Never mind, he's perfectly fine. If he didn't have that DRS, he might have actually been passed by Francis here. And with an undercut, Crabtree either puts himself at the back of this train, or he extricates himself from it entirely, and he secures third place. It all depends on the outlaps of him and the drivers around him. Hearing some weird noises outside. I do not think they're of any consequence, though. I must pause a second for throat restoration. It is very dry. Better. This Grand Prix is absolutely not brought to you by Orange Soda. The commentary is, the Grand Prix is not. Oh! Altman finds a curb, and he has to just take escaping action to not obstruct Liam Angelo, which he does anyway. And he's going to give the place to Liam because he knows that that was a critical mistake that has probably put Liam Angelo out of touch of that train. AJ finally arriving in his box, the magical hard tires that put themselves on the car before they were on the car. Suddenly that train has been derailed. Ahead goes AJ's teammate, but AJ will jump Crabtree in the pits, barely. But he's still got to deal with warming them tires up, and Crabtree no longer does, so around the outside, the Aston will go. So he's jumped AJ. Has he jumped everybody else? Will he remain in third by the time these other three have pit in? Liam and Jackson's little scuffle exiting the chicane will probably help him at least get to fourth, but Francis is very fast at the moment. He's getting away from Liam at least little by little. And he's on the harder tires, so eventually Liam will pit, but Francis won't have to. I'm thinking Francis right now is the safest bet to be on that third step of the podium, as it's another spin. I think I know who this might just be. It was Stotts. Liam Angelo hits the pit lane to dispose of these medium tires. Where will he come out in relation to his previous train members? Luke Allen actually benefiting Crabtree some here in the efforts to pass Liam. And oh yeah, he's miles clear. In fact, AJ has also jumped him back as well, so the undercut has relatively served its purpose. Luke Allen now just exists, having been overtaken by Crabtree. Gets out of the way of his teammate, but he doesn't have to do that for Liam if he doesn't want to. I guess he didn't have to do that for his teammate either, but he wanted to, so he does. That's how volition works, in case you were somehow unaware. Matthew Stotts, after his 7th or 8th spin, decides to retire it in the pit lane and call it an evening. Honestly, I don't necessarily say I blame him on this occasion. AJ Kinnickle just barely remains in the DRS range of his target, Tyler Crabtree. Their battle may yet live on another day. It's hard to say for sure. Ethan Fonseca pits in. Oh my word. Wow, that is unlucky. I can't say I've ever seen that. Ethan Fonseca just lost this Grand Prix from Matthew Stotts retiring. Unless something crazy happens, that just lost him like 30 seconds. Crabtree is now about to try and pass him. He won't be able to because he doesn't have any battery left, but he's gonna try. Actually, I say that, he is still there. Those tires are not warm yet, and Fonseca's probably got a metaphorical smoke cloud right above his head. Probably a bit disoriented because he just had to sit there and wait for 20 seconds for a car that manly retired from the race. You know, that wasn't a problem in any other game, I would just like to point out. Cameron Tate is out of the race as he spins off at turn 3. And there's the safety car. It's Pichegate, folks. As all the other leaders near him on the hard tires were not able to box. So that is just completely warped to the top 4. However, what this does do is it does put Fonseca back in striking distance. So you can, at the very least, get to second if you can get ahead of those 3 cars. But I don't know. It's certainly dampened his chances, as he's now got to negotiate cars that'll be on the soft tires. Well, softer tires. There's no chance in heck you're getting softs to go that far, but mediums, yeah, we've already seen it happen. Liam already did it. As did, Ethan himself. And Pichet enters the pit lane. He will more than safely come out ahead of everybody else. Fonseca may have the chance of jumping cars, but that'll be about his only hope. And it's not much of a hope either, because he's still under that delta time. He might jump Boggs, who's having to fix his wing, I believe. Oh, he will actually jump all three by a slim margin. Tyler Crabtree suddenly finds himself back on the podium, at least for now, but there is a slew of angry medium tires that are just sort of merged into the running order. Anybody that didn't start on mediums would be wise to put them on now. So even Setchel, who started on softs, still has a case to make for those medium tires. And from where they are on the grid, you get a free pit stop. You may as well take it. See if you can at least sneak ahead of one or two cars on the softer tires and sneak into a point. Man, nobody likes that engine. Okay, we're just gonna move away from there before I get a headache. At the moment, it seems as though that the safety car may not be in this lap, as the cars at the very back of the grid are some ways away from it. And the orange soda is already warm. Curses. Luke Allen has caught. If Setchel can arrive before the Sector 3 line, then we will be good to go this lap. He might, but how much does he really want to wear his medium tires getting there? I feel as though I'm about to be interrupted in a moment. He will not get here in time. He will come up just short. So we shall have to wait another lap for the safety car to exit the circuit. When we restart, we will have 13 to go. As they run at the moment, it's Nicholas Pichet, followed by Ethan Fonseca, Tyler Crabtree, Francis Ferrand, AJ Knickel, Jackson Altman, Al Hazmi in the Williams, Liam Angelo, Kyler Boggs, Luke Allen, and the Williams of Setchel running, the only car running that's not in the top 10. However, of course, the medium tires versus the hard tires will pretty much be the deciding factor, as I believe Ericsson hits Abdurrahman Al-Hazmi there, and now he will be the one out of the points and out of a front wing. But the safety car is going to go in this lap, so he's just going to have to just live with that. Yeah, so the mediums versus hard tires. I don't think either compound will have any issues making it to the end of the Grand Prix from here, as there's the confirmation. And just see Jackson Altman being the Kimi Räikkönen of the field. All of the cars around him swerving to keep temperature in the tires, and he's just like, what's a straightaway? Though this is a straightaway. This is a straightaway. What is the swerving of which you speak? So, while, Fonseca may be second and Crabtree may be third, Francis is behind them on mediums, so he will have more pace as we get the field green again. Same applies to Piche. I don't think he's going to be under much of any pressure, as he floors out of the last turn. Fonseca is able to relatively stay with him as we go green once again from Catalunya. Nobody was really caught lacking, but Altman's going to send it on Knickel. Knickel allows the space, potentially seeing this coming in the mirrors. Not a whole lot of real estate, but apparently not a whole lot was needed for Jackson Altman to steal for 5th place away. Indeed, Francis Ferrand gets ahead of the Aston Martin for 3rd place. And Setchel will do the same thing against Allen on his medium tires. No, their medium tires. God darn. I don't judge that sort of thing, but it definitely confuses me. My brain just looks at a name and thinks, oh, that's a masculine name. And, you know, I went the first 20 years of my life where this wasn't a thing that happened, so just have to bear with me on that. As Altman and Crabtree are getting physical through the back half of the circuit. Very physical. Little nudge from McLaren. There's no DRS yet either, so you might as well try and force your way around through there. Speaking of a way around, AJ Knickel back down the inside of Altman. Mirrors a lap ago, but understeers a little bit wide into the McLaren. And Altman's gonna stick on the outside up to 4. It's the better line versus the better tires. AJ washes up a tiny bit again, manages to keep it off the McLaren. Maybe. Now it's Altman's turn to go a bit wide on the exit. Crabtree's liking this in his rear view at the moment, I'm sure. And eventually the inside lane will prevail. Altman will defend to 5th after a little bit of bumper cars. And that battle has left AJ vulnerable to the AlphaTauri of Liam behind, but he's trying to force it on the outside, and he gets absolutely turned by Kyler Boggs. There's the interruption. Knew it was happening eventually. Setchel sizing the Mercedes going through and through different lanes, nearly turns the Williams for good measure. Trying to go for one of those Call of Duty kill streaks. Setchel manages to avoid destruction, but he does not make the pass. And Kyler is given a penalty for corner cutting. I usually don't agree with 5 seconds for that sort of thing, but well done, in-game stewards. He kind of earned that. Jackson Altman is back to the rear wing of the Aston Martin, but with not a whole lot of battery on offer. He's instead going to settle for nearly sending the Aston Martin back to Estoril. A little more battery in hand. He's not actually using it. Meanwhile, Kaneko is using it all. Even without using it, he's still alongside and past Crabtree, who attempts to switcheroo, but the track switcheroos as well, so that's not going to work. The track switcheroos, that's a brand new sentence. Looks like he might have a shot at the Alpine for 9th here. Never mind, he doesn't. Now don't look now, we have a very distant but existing conflict for the lead. Fonseca is getting closer to his teammate at the expense of his battery, and Francis is catching the pair of them, so we may have to let that sit for a moment. Now Liam will be ahead of aforementioned Alpine driver. So that settles that. Liam is now up to 6th? Not to 9, me. At the very tail end of this race, the medium tires will start to fall off a cliff as far as pace goes. So if Fonseca can stay around here, he might have a shot on the last lap or two. But that's a pretty big if, considering he has no battery to his teammates' 70%. And heck, even to Francis's 80%. That's a pretty big if. Setchel has lost the DRS opportunity against Boggs, so I believe that will be his 7th place, on track at least. Everyone on the field, unless you're if you're not in the top 4, everyone on the field is just like a perfect distance apart, where they're almost up to the back of the car in front of them, but they're just out of DRS range, so they won't get there without a mistake from the next car in line. DRS just about the only reason that the winner of this race hasn't already been declared, more or less. Looks like the battle between Kaneko and Crabtree will persist several laps later. Never mind, the leg spike has just placed Crabtree in another dimension. It doesn't matter because I just look at the big exit from 5. Come on, Crabtree, stay in this universe. You don't need this Rick and Morty nonsense now. We have a Grand Prix in this universe that you have to be in. DRS, battery. Obviously now it's crunch time. You gotta make these passes and you gotta make them count. So AJ's just gonna go for it this time, and he's gonna get it through 10, but obviously, you know, a serving of DRS is in order. Speaking of DRS, I think Fonseca might be in trouble here. Francis has all of the battery in the world. Fonseca attempts defense. They both got really close to Piche there. And Fonseca now has to make a choice. Does he attempt to throw a spanner in Francis's attempts to take the lead? Or does he just, you know, continue for his own win? I think at this point with the tire difference, you just kind of have to accept that you ain't going to be getting the position from your teammate, but you can at least keep that position away from the Mercedes. But then again, I'm not even Fonseca, for what I know. Last time I saw a position like this in an F1 game, Max Verstappen hadn't won 2 races yet. And Angel has caught Setchel for P8 for a bit of a last-second salvage act from the AlphaTauri driver. He's basically a once-off reserve as far as I'm aware. Because he doesn't seem to have any intentions of even making any more races following this one. But this ongoing conflict between Knickel and Crabtree may have a surprise guest in a moment, as here's the Mercedes with the faster compound entering the battle. Looks like Piche has turned on the jets. He has made almost 2 seconds over Francis, and this time that's not even a tire thing, that's just I'm running away. He is off to secure the bag, as the kids say. If this train goes long enough, Setchel and Liam might find themselves in it too. And then we'll just have another 5-car train being headed by AJ Knickel. He is truly Fernando Alonso today. How appropriate, seeing as we're at Spain. My voice is all but spent at this point. Oh, Crabtree gets that at the worst moment. So that's pretty much secured P5 for AJ unless Kyler Boggs does something nuts and makes up that second or so difference in the next 3 laps, which he may very well do, having the superior tires at this moment in time. That said, in like a lap or 2, they may not be the superior tires. Setchel has lost it in 3. That'll put them out of the battle. They also have reset their car, which I do believe is not allowed. Has me pits for more softs, discovering that the original set he put on cannot make it to the flag. Boggs has just about caught AJ now. And they've both almost caught up to the McLaren of Jackson Altman ahead, but he's pushing his battery to escape. What just moved? Oh, Liam Angelo has pit. Maybe he got damage from when the Williams spun around, and he may just... Yeah, he did. Well, he might have a chance at the fastest lap. If we look at what that is here quickly, that's the wrong detail. His target's a 19 flat. And Setchel loses it in turn 3 again. The ground effects are not helping them today at all. I wonder if Francis may have pressed his tires a bit too far. Fonseca is back on that diffuser with his hards that are probably still not feeling the burn yet. It is the final lap of the GP for our two small trains of drivers. The winner of this race long since decided by just purely being broken. A good run through 9 could give Boggs a desperate shot at 5th on the track. Well, 7, 8, and 9, and indeed Al-Hazmi is going to grab that fastest lap. But that's not Liam, though. So now Liam just has to beat an 18.8 instead. Oh my word. So Nicolas Piché is going to grab another win. Wait, we haven't finished the race yet. Oh, we have. No, we haven't. Good lord, Mark Martin's. Okay. So, well, Francis has just looped it out of the last turn, thus giving Ethan Fonseca back second place. Now we're on the final lap. I think I got confused because I was looking at a car that hadn't crossed the line yet. And I'm like, oh, the leaders are probably on 33 right now. No, they weren't. The leader had just started 32, and Knickel nearly got around Altman there. He must be having major tire problems, or he's missing part of his car. I can't immediately notice there's any damage on the McLaren, so I don't think that's it. They're just going to have one shot heading into turn 10. Hazmi further improves his fastest lap well over the capabilities of the AlphaTauri. But he's not going to get any point for it down there. I don't think AJ is close enough from here, and nor is Kyler, because he's out of battery. Nicolas Piché is going to grab yet another victory. I believe this is his third straight. Fonseca will come home to complete the Ferrari 1-2 again. Francis probably kicking himself as he loops it out of the last corner on the second to last lap. Altman 4th, Knickel 5th, Boggs P6 on track, but that penalty he gained from, well, basically playing pinball off the front of Sechel's car is going to demote him to 7th instead. Speaking of, another spin from Sechel gave the points, actually, or maybe that was just a calculated thing, because that's his teammate. Led his teammate into 10th place so he can get the 10th place point and the fastest lap point. So, Abdul Rahman Al-Hazmi, the Williams driver, I really should think of a better way to say that. He will grab the final point of the Grand Prix and the fastest lap for good measure, and Sechel crosses the line. Francis was driver of the day despite the fact that he did not manage to steal second place. And that'll conclude matters here in the Spanish Grand Prix. Piquet takes another victory over his teammate as we return you to the status quo once again. We are the average Western cartoon show. Definitely not whatever that flag is of Francis Ferran joins the Ferraris on the podium, pretty much capping off what seems to be this ARC season's version of Ham Verbot. And that'll conclude matters for this Spanish GP broadcast. Next week we'll probably have some track in Europe, if I had to guess. Actually, I don't know what track it'll be. I really should look at the schedule, so I'm not just talking out of my rear end when I am like, oh, next week is this, and then throw out some random track that is completely wrong.